Greetings, technicians. This is probably the third or fifth try I try to record this, but this is Admin Crow here, your coach of the Toronto Star Raptors, bringing you the team builder for Season 1, Week 1 of the TDL, Technician Dream League. I will be taking on my fellow Torontonian friend, the other Torontonian team, Toronto Maple Leafeons, coached by Logan, aka Lo-Fi. So in this team builder, I'll be going over some of the sets I'm going to be bringing and some of the mons that I think my opponent's going to be bringing against me, and just explaining my thought process going into this match and some of the win conditions, or how I planning on winning this match in general. So let's just get started. This entire team is basically built around a setup autonomized Celesteela because I think it has a really good matchup against his team. Looking at his roster of 12, the list should appear to your right momentarily. The dual staff is pretty self-explanatory because the flash cannon is there for the Togekiss and Mega Altaria, both being one being his Mega and the other one being one of his higher tier picks. I think the chance of him bringing both of these are very high likely. The Mega Altaria is just such a huge threat against my team after one Dragon Dance. And the Togekiss, the main reason I think he's going to be bringing that is because his Rapid Spinner is such a low tier mod. I don't think he's going to be bringing that against me because I don't think that it has such a, I guess it doesn't really have a good matchup against me, and in general he has so many more better options. So bringing Togekiss gives him a reliable hazard removal via defog, and obviously he can still bring Rotom Wash as his other defogger because it does get access to defog now in Ultra Sun and Moon through the move tutors, so that's something I have to keep in mind. Anyways, back to the sets. The Air Slash in general, just for the Scrafty and Amoonguss, which is something I think he's going to be bringing for sure to help track the Koko because it resists Koko's dual stabs. And the Flamethrower just to hit the, I guess for the Amoonguss if I don't want to miss, and mainly for the Jirachi, and give me the option to run Fire Rim Z because Celesteela is one of my Z captains. I also set up the special attack so that it's a guaranteed Oko on the Jirachi with Z Fire if it is non-invested. So I can just knock that thing out if I happen to nail a prediction when he's expecting a Flash Cannon or Air Slash or something, even though I don't really outspeed. But however, I will try to play more conservatively once I figure out his sets and his playing styles, so on and so forth. So the speed I have here is to outrun a Scarf Togekiss and a Dragon Dance Mega Altaria because both of these have a base speed of 80. I realized that no matter how much I invest, I'm not going to be outrunning a Choice Scarf or a +1 Jirachi with a speed boosting nature like Jolly or Timid, stuff like that. Anyways, so that was the benchmark I was looking at. Obviously, the next fastest thing I believe is Rotom Wash with a base speed of 86, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but there's no point to set my speed tier, set that as my speed tier basically, because the set I have here doesn't beat it anyways. I do patch up this weakness, or I have other things that I can help me check Rotom Wash. I'll be explaining that later. So basically Celesteela is just there to put in work once Rotom Wash is gone. And yeah, for my fifth slot, for my third slot, I said fifth. Yeah, I wish Pokemon actually have 5 moves because there was I was actually going back and forth between Flamethrower and Energy Ball. The Energy Ball obviously is to hit Rotom and the Seismitoad, but I opt to go with Flamethrower so that I can hit the Jirachi as hard as I can because as I mentioned before, it's such a big threat against me, and it's like a definite brain in my opinion. So anyways, for the rest of the EVs, I just dump into HP to help me take hits a little bit better. Yeah, so basically the speed is just to outrun the next biggest threats aside from Jirachi and Rotom, obviously. And oh yeah, for the faster threats, obviously I'm not gonna be able to outspeed them at +1 anyways, mainly being the Liepard, Cryogonal, and Lycanroc Day. All of these three have the base speed of over 100. If I'm not mistaken, these three are the only three aside that's faster than Jirachi. But I don't think any of these three is gonna come. Lycanroc Day does have a really good matchup against me because the Steel type I drafted doesn't actually resist Rock. But it's not something that I think he's gonna be bringing. Anyways, moving on to the next one here, I have Scarf Tapu Koko. The choice Scarf might not make sense at first glance, but because I have to prep for choice Scarf Jirachi / Togekiss, mainly the Jirachi, because I think he's only gonna bring one Scarf on if he's gonna bring one. I have to prep for that as well. As an electric type, I can't really get T-waved by both the Togekiss or the Jirachi, and I would like to be faster than those two so I can not get flinched. So that's, I guess, in a way to ensure myself to outrun both of these and hit them back with a potential Volt Switch if I opt to go for momentum, or a T-Bolt for damage. So because the speed tier I have here is for Jolly or Timid, or I guess just a speed boosting nature Jirachi, I can afford to run modest nature on my Koko, and the rest I just dump in HP to help me take some of the hits a little bit better. It doesn't outrun any of these faster threats without a Scarf. It doesn't outrun anything that's faster than Jirachi without the Scarf, if I don't have the Scarf anyway. But as I mentioned before, I don't think he's going to be bringing those three that I named. So the moves that I have here is Grass Knot for the Seismitoad. If I happen to lose my Scarf, I can switch up between my moves, or I just happen to make the prediction of Seismitoad coming in. Dazzling Gleam is mainly there for the Scrafty and the Mega Altaria, and Volt Switch is there for general momentum, and T-Bolt is just help me hit as hard as possible. So this set doesn't really touch the Amoonguss all that well, but Celesteela is a pretty free Amoonguss switch-in. There's really not much Amoonguss can do against me aside from Sporing. But I don't think he's going to be bringing Spore because the fact that I have Tapu Koko. He might run a Toxic set for the status effect over Spore. But either way, Celesteela is just going to be a very free switch to the Amoonguss anyways. So moving on, I have Mega Sharpedo here with Protect, Ice Fan, Psychic Fan, Crunch. Crunch is just there for general purposes. It's one of my main stab. I didn't bring Water Stab because I don't feel it was necessary. I'm just going to be clicking Crunch most of the time anyways, and for those mons that resist Crunch, mainly being the Togekiss and the Mega Altaria, I'm going to be hitting it with super effective Ice Fan anyways, so I didn't think the Liquidation or the Waterfall made too much sense. The Psychic Fan is just helped me to hit the Amoonguss a little bit better, even though Ice Fan is already super effective anyways. Yeah, I think Psychic Fan is the only thing. That's the only thing that Psychic Fan is for. The speed tier again is to help me outrun a +1 Jirachi with a speed boosting nature. With a Mega form, I have a base speed of 105. That's why I can afford to, because I outspeed a Jirachi naturally, I can afford to run a little bit less speed and just put the rest in HP. It didn't really matter if I put in defense or special defense or HP. It doesn't really matter because a Sharpedo is such a frail mon anyways. And the Protect is pretty self-explanatory because I need that initial turn up speed boost in the basic form. to outrun his Jirachi in the first place. So something to do note is that I can't touch the Scrafty at all with Mega Sharpedo. The best thing I can hit it with is probably, yeah, because Crunch is quad resisted, so the best thing I can hit it with is an Ice Fang. But I have other things for Scrafty. The reason I mentioned Scrafty so much is because I think it's one of these definite brain against me, or else he doesn't really have a good answer against Porygon 2. Scrafty overall does really well against me anyways, because I don't really have knockoff switching. Both my tier 1 Mon Coco and my Mega Sharpedo, those two resist Dark pretty well. However, both of them are pretty frail. It's not likely, it's very unlikely that I will be switching those in against a knockoff anyways. And especially in this case, I want to preserve my item on the Coco. Moving on, I have Claydol here. This slot is mainly to act as a lead. I debated between Claydol and Smeargle back and forth. I really like both of their speed tiers because in fact Smeargle and Claydol share the base speed of 75. That actually outspeed or outruns Seismitoad by 1 point. Even though I'm naturally faster than Seismitoad, I still ran a lot of speed because standard set for Seismitoad, defensive Seismitoad in RU is actually to have, I think, 196 speed or something. I don't know what speed is for because I don't really play RU. But just in case, for some reason, Lo-Fi just or Logan just copy paste over the stats he finds on Smogon or something. I don't think he's gonna run that much speed on Seismitoad anyways, but just in case I have 200 speed, I mean 56 EVs in speed just to help me hit the 200 base mark, benchmark. I don't think Scrafty is gonna be outrunning me anyways unless it's a offensive Dragon Dancing set, in which case I believe knockoff is actually a 3-hit KO with my investment, because after the first knockoff, the second one is going to be doing a lot less, due to the fact that I lost my Rocky Helmet, and he will have to run Crunch, which I don't see very often on Scrafty overall, and I think knockoff is such a better move in general, so I don't really see him bringing Crunch. So going over the moves that I have here, I wanted a lead like I mentioned before, that's why I have Stealth Rock here. I didn't really bring Rapid Spin because I want him to get rid of the rocks for me, since he's most likely going to be bringing his Defogger instead of these Rapid Spinners anyway, whether that being the Togekiss or the Rotom Wash. The Grass Knot is there for a Seismitoad for a potential counter lead. Since I'm going to be outrunning it anyways, that's going to be a 2-hit KO to, I believe, for Seismitoad that's not SPDEF and running less than 100 special defense. So it's basically a 2-hit KO to max HP Seismitoad, or anything that's less than 100 special defense. And Earth Power for Jirachi, which is another potential lead. He's very unlikely going to be staying in against me to set up his Stealth Rock. I actually would like to see his Jirachi as a lead, because that means it's probably more of a support set instead of a Scarf set or setup variant, if he so decide to lead with Jirachi. And it's just one of my main stab to hit everything else more effectively anyways. Dazzling Gleam is mainly there for the Scrafty. If he's not a setup or speedy variant, it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO on a Scrafty. He has to be like max HP, max special defense or something to not get 2-hit KO by a Dazzle. And the reason I have Rocky Helmet is to just get off a little bit trip damage on the Jirachi if he so decide to go for a U-turn, if he's Choice Scarfed. just to scout out what I want to do if he leads with Jirachi, or just overall getting off chip damage even when he's going for his dual stab, which mainly being the Iron Head and Zen Headbutt. If he's running a special variant, I'm less worried about it anyways, because the most concerning part about my team building is getting flinched. That's not something that I can really prep for, but I would like to have an answer to it at least, since I don't really have any ways to prevent myself getting flinched, so may as well get off a little bit of chip damage, right? So anyways, yeah, so Claydol is mainly here as a lead and just a physically defensive wall, and provide me with a oh yeah, the other thing I didn't mention is because he's typing, he's a ground type, gives me electric immunity, so in case he's trying to run an electric move on Jirachi to take advantage of my electric terrain that I set up with Coco, or just to hit my Celesteela, I have an answer, so he's going to be more hesitant to click electric move or lock himself into an electric move if he has it. So that's pretty much it for Claydol. It's going to be my designated lead if I see the Seismitoad, which I think have a high chance of coming, or the Jirachi, which I know for sure he's going to be bringing. Yeah, that's pretty much an anti-lead to both of these two. Moving on to the Kirin Black, which I named Totoroki, and it has to be shiny, of course. Shout out to Nice My Hero. The set is gonna be Earth Power, Ice Beam, Sub Roost. These two attacks are the only two attacks I need to hit most of his team members for super effective damage. I didn't bring Dragon Stab for obvious reasons, because you have two fairies that can easily switch into those. For the stuff that Ice Beam doesn't hit well against, Earth Power cover anyways, mainly being the Jirachi and the Rotom Wash. And I'm not sure if he realizes this, but Earth Power can actually hit the Rotom due to my ability Terra Volt. That's not something you notice unless you play OU a lot, because Terra Volt is exclusive ability to Kirin Black. It pretty much worked like a mode breaker. It's the same concept, which allows me to ignore the levitate ability on Rotom Wash. This is one of my main counters to his slower walls, mainly being the Rotom Wash, Amoonguss, which I think he's gonna bring because of my Coco, like I mentioned before, and I believe the other one is Seismitoad. For these three, I can pretty much safely switch in and get up a sub, and those three won't be able to break my sub unless barring some very specific move, which I don't think I'm gonna mention in this builder, because I think Logan is actually a really good player, and he might very well play me again in the playoffs. So I don't want to give him any hints, but this set should wall most variants of those three walls that I mentioned above. The defenses over here is just so that the 20 EVs in both defense and special defense, along with the HP, allows me to basically to not let Seismitoad break my sub. I believe it has 1% chance to break my sub with both Earthquake and Earth Power, no matter which side he decide to go with, either physical or special. Obviously that's assuming he's non-invested, more of a defensive variant. And the special attack here, along with the Life Orb, is to allow me to 2-hit KO most member of his team, especially his higher tier threats. Ice Beam, he hits both of his fairies, being the I almost said Togetic, but the Togekiss and the Mega Altaria, and Earth Power mainly for the Jirachi and the Rotom Wash. Oh yes, Ice Beam also hits the Amoonguss for super effective damage. The special attacking investment allow allows me to 2-hit KO max HP Scrafty, assuming he has no special defense investment. Along with the Life Orb, the 2-hit KO is considering Stealth Rock, which I would like to get up as early as possible, because both of his reliable Defogger being the Togekiss and his Rapid Spinner Cryogonal, if he so decide to bring that is are weak to rocks. So I believe his team is actually a lot more weak to rocks than my team. So once I get up those rocks, they are there to stay unless he so decide to defog them away, which would be nice for myself as well, since I don't have hazard control myself. Moving on, I believe, yes, the speed here is to outrun a max speed timid or jolly Mega Altaria or a timid Togekiss. Both of these have 80 speed. I outrun them naturally, or I'm naturally faster anyways. This allows me to run Modest Nature. And the reason I don't have any physical moves on this, despite that I have a lot higher physical attack, is because Earth Power plus Ice Beam hits his entire roster anyways, and I want this to be a dedicated switch against his Rotom. If he so decide to click Will-O-Wisp, I don't want my Kieran Black to be crippled and not be able to do anything back. Moving on to my P2, which is my last member, I'm really proud of this set. It's mostly a physically defensive EV spread with a calm nature, so that I can take hits better both on the physical side and special side, so that my final stats are evened out. This is mainly to act as a just a general switch-in to everything except for the Scrafty. Mainly the physical defense is there to take hits very well from a Scarf Togekiss if he's jolly. I believe it's not a 4-hit KO, I think it's 5-hit KO or something if he's jolly with max attack. That's really nice because I have to consider the potential flinches as well. And the Trace ability is just give me a potential chance to get Serene Grace and what's the other one? Serene Grace and Flash Fire. Even though I think Chandelure is not that good against my team, but he might bring it anyways just because the immunity to fire, because Darmanitan is such a huge threat against his team, so he might want to bring a secondary check. If he so decide to bring Flash Fire along with Chandelure, I can use P2 as a very safe switch-in because he's immune to the Ghost Stab, obviously being a normal type, and if I trace the Flash Fire, his other Stab Fire won't be able to do anything to me anyways. So the foul play here is mainly for the Jirachi. I think that's the only thing that the foul play is for. I guess maybe the Seismitoad if it's a physical variant, or the Escavalier, which I don't think he's gonna be bringing since he have Jirachi for the Steel type anyways, Steel typing anyways. And the reason I decide to go with Tri Attack instead of Ice Beam, which actually hits the Amoonguss, Togekiss, and the Mega Altaria for super effective damage, is because I want to bring some heat and then just hits the rest of his team for better neutral damage, I guess. The reason I say heat is because my ability trace. So if I can getting my Porygon to after his Mega Altaria is already Mega Evolved, I can trace his Pixelate ability, and that will actually in fact turn my Tri Attack into a Fairy type Pixelate boosted move, and be able to threaten his Mega Altaria out, maybe catch him on surprise, and it's also gonna be super effective against the Scrafty. I believe with my investment, I can take one hit from the Scrafty, a high jump kick or something, anyways, and then OHKO him back with a Pixelate boosted Tri Attack. Yeah, the Toxic is there just to hit everything else, barring the Jirachi and Escavalier is such a safe click, and obviously Recover is there as a staple. So yeah, this is pretty much the team. So I think I'm gonna be doing a live con of the actual match. I believe Logan is waiting for me right now, so we're gonna be jumping into the battle. I'm really excited about this team. I think I have the right tools to beat him, especially the P2 set. If I can catch him off guard with the Trace Pixelate, that's gonna be really cool. And the Kieran Black, which helps me wall break so well, so that my Celesteela can just set up and win in the late game. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoyed the team builder, make sure you check out the live con of the battle, which should be going up a couple days, if not, should be going up a couple days after the team builder itself. So yeah, that's gonna be it from me. See you guys in the next one. Peace out, technicians.